Well, hello everyone. Welcome back to Gordon Phillips Academy. This is our segment called Learn, Learn. Let's educate America right now. So this week's workshop, session, lesson is going to be where does the money go? Where does the money go in your life? Let's say you earn $50,000 a year, which ain't what it used to be. And you do that for 40 years. So quick, in your head, what's 50,000 times 40? It's 2 million. $2 million passes through your hands in your lifetime. And the Social Security Administration informs us that the average retiree has less than $400 in the bank, which isn't enough to pay for your muffler if it falls off. How is it possible to have $2 million pass through your hands and end up with virtually nothing? And if you ask the average person, they would be befuddled. They wouldn't have an answer. They would just, I've done this before. They just stare at you or they just shake their head. Probably didn't even want to think about it. But if you had a time machine and could go back, the answer, you ever heard the expression death by a thousand cuts? The answer is that they made thousands and thousands of spending and other types of money decisions in their life, most of which were very small and seemingly insignificant at the time. Going through the fast food place or the coffee shop on the way to work every morning and spending $4, $5, get a muffin and a coffee. $5 times 20 work days a month is $100 a month. That's 1,200 a year. That's 12,000 in 10 years. 48,000 in 40 years. Of course, God knows what a cup of coffee and a muffin will cost 40 years from now. So all of these little decisions, many of these decisions are large, putting your kids through college or buying vehicles or financing homes, but most of them are very small. And if you could step into a time machine and go back to when you were 20 or 25 years old with this knowledge and start all over, everyone would live their life completely differently. So why don't they do it in the first place? Because no one told them. This is not taught in school. This is not taught in public school. It's not taught by the government using public service announcements on TV during prime time. It's certainly not taught from the pulpit by any faith or denomination. And if it's not taught around the family table, and if your five closest friends don't know, good luck. Most people just stumble and fumble their way through life and hope that everything ends up okay. So my purpose here is not to be negative, is to be very positive and to provide educational pieces that are short and hopefully of value that you can share, especially with the younger people in your life, your own children, grandchildren, nieces, nephews, neighbors, kids, whatever, because it's all free on my website, again at gordonphillipsacademy.com under the Learn tab. So let's quickly go through three spreadsheets that I put together to illustrate my point. So let's imagine we're gonna take $1 a day, just $1 every day, and it's $1 that you have left over after expenses, and you can waste that dollar on something frivolous or spontaneous or impulsive or whatever, or you can deliberately, I'll say scientifically, invest that dollar instead because it can't serve two masters. It's going to go through one door or the other. It's going to go out the front door into your future or out the back door into someone else's pocket. So let's just pretend that we're going to get a 6% return on our money over a 40-year period. That's what the stock market is average, 6%. And these are just numbers. We're just playing with numbers here. This isn't meant to be an absolute scenario for anybody. It's just meant to be illustrative of the potential. So you waste $365 at the end of the first year because there's 365 days in a year. And as the years go by, here's the running total of what you waste. So by the 10th year, you've wasted $3,650, which if you had invested it at 6% per annum instead, you would now be up by $5,100. So you're either down by 3650 or you're up by 5100. So already that's about almost a $9,000 difference after 10 years of what is and what could have been. And the graph shows the progression in the green line of what savings looks like over a 40-year period. And the red line shows the decrease of the wasting of $1 a day. So after 40 years, we come down to the bottom of the spreadsheet. You're either out $14,600 or you're up almost $60,000. Now, bear in mind, this is $1 a day. Let's get adventurous and jump this up to $5 a day. Well, now we're out, and there's a little summary table down here, 73,000, or we're up 300,000 for a difference between the two of almost $400,000 between what happened and what could have happened. Let's jump to $10 a day. And now the numbers get really crazy. So you understand the power here, the incremental power of the erosion of wealth over time, day by day, week by week, month by month, year by year, decade by decade, or the deliberate, intentional, little bit of self-sacrifice, growth of money over that same time. Let's jump to the next spreadsheet. I want to keep this short and to the point. Where does the money go? Here's another one. In this instance, we break it down a little more and we look at an individual, starts at age 20, works till age 70, that's 50 working years, makes 50,000 a year, gross lifetime income 2.5 million, lifetime working hours 100,000 hours over 50 years, selling your life hour by hour to advance someone else's agenda. That's a whole other conversation. We won't go there right now. Savings. Average savings rate over your whole life, 3.5%. On average, your whole life, you saved 88 cents an hour. 88 cents an hour. At 20% federal income tax, you got state. I mean, these are all, you can plug any number you like into a spreadsheet. These are just averages. You pay $750,000 in taxes over a lifetime, over those 50 years. Average annual rate of inflation, that's real, not what the government tells us. And you lose about $150,000 in purchasing power, just slips through your hands, just disappears as the dollar is worth less and less year by year. Running an average credit card balance of 9,000, which is roughly the American average last time I looked. And every year you'll pay 1,600 and change just in rental. Remember, finance charges equals rental charges. When you see interest or finance charge, think of it this way. You're renting money from someone else. You're not renting a lawnmower or a car or a house. You're renting money. And they're letting you use their money and they're charging you a fee to use their money. That's what interest is. That's what, I hope I made the point. $400,000 home, roughly the average. I think it's actually more than that, the median in America today. Over a 30-year period, the cost of debt alone is greater than the cost of the house. You'll pay I'm rounding up $470,000 in money rental fees to the bankers for the use of their money over a 30-year period. Let's say you keep your average car for 5 years, sell it. You're going to have 10 vehicles in a lifetime, assuming you're buying them new, 40,000 each. Cost of debt and depreciation, $210,000. Let's add them all up. So here's the summary table right here. $750,000 in taxes, $470,000 in mortgage interest, $210,000 in vehicles, $150,000 in inflation, $81,000 in credit cards, which adds up to $1,660,000 in change in what I call wealth erosion. 66%, 2/3 of everything you've ever earned gone out of your 2.5 million lifetime earnings. And you end up with a third There's the remainder, the little gray wedge right here. That's what you end up with. And your average hourly earnings net are $8.40. So there's another little view into where the money goes. And the last spreadsheet we're going to look at is really fun. We're going to look at two college age girls. This is Prudence, who's 22, and this is Tiffany. Woohoo! Tiffany's a party girl. We're going to see what the difference between these two gals. So Prudence is 22. She's single. She got a BA in business management. She's homeschooled. Yay, Prudence. Lives in a furnished room, still at home with her parents. Not ashamed of that at all. She wants to live as frugally as she can while she's young. Borrows her parents' cars. I'm sure she gives them a few bucks, maybe helps put some gas in it. Keeps only 300 on her credit cards because it's good to have some debt on your credit card. They like it. They like the credit card cards. The FICO score is good when you're an active user, but you keep it very low and you make your payments promptly on time. And she's smart. Frugal. She eats in. She's not a party animal. She used college level entry placement exams to get all of her college requirements by the time she was 18 with zero college loans, which is how the homeschoolers do it. Feel free to get in touch with me anytime and I'll explain that to you. She's a young person, modest income, 40,000, 15% tax bracket, monthly net income 2833, but only costs her $1,000 a month to live. So she's got $1,833 every month that she can sock away and invest. And she's doing that at the average annual stock market return of 6%. We're going to go with 3.2% with a straight face, which is what the government tells us inflation has been. And now we look at the chart. Every month, 1,800 bucks every month, growing every month. And at the end, so the question is she wants to have $10,000 a month coming in passive income so that's what she considers to be retired, meaning she doesn't have to work anymore. And according to the spreadsheet, that will happen in 82 months when she's 28.8, call it 29 years old, and she's 22. So before she's 30, she's done. Now, let's go look at Tiffany. So Tiffany's a college graduate, got a degree in hospitality. She was a cheerleader at Obama High. She shares an apartment with 3 or 4 other girls, sharing rent, heat, air conditioning, internet, makes payments on a brand new Prius, keeps $5,000 on credit cards, makes minimum payments, eats out, buys new clothes, clubbing every night, student loans, making payments on 25,000, same income, same financials as Prudence. But this gal's cost of living is $27.50 a month, and she's only got $83 left over each month. Again, to invest at all the same numbers as Prudence. It's going to take her 62 years to reach her goal. She'll be 84 years old. She'll retire at 84. Prudence will retire at 29. Now, what's not being discussed here is what will the dollar buy when Tiffany is 84 years old? It might cost $50 for a sandwich or $50 for a gallon of gas. Nobody has any idea. But this young lady will be so far ahead of the game that whatever happens to the economy, she'll be able to be on top of it because of the sacrifices and the leverage, the financial leverage she took advantage of as a young person. So I know I'm kind of stretching some points a little here to make a point, so don't beat me up too much. But the whole idea here is to give you a sense of the power of being prudent, of being smart about your money, of being frugal, and taking advantage of the exponential growth of money, compound growth over time when you have an actual plan of action. So you don't end up in your early retirement years with $400 in the bank, even though you earned over 2 million. So please feel free to share these short lessons with the young people in your life, especially your children, grandchildren, nieces, nephews, next door neighbors' kids, kids of people you go to church with, whatever, because that's my spirit in making these, is not to be in any way negative or critical of anyone. It's just to show what's possible when you're still relatively young and you have decades of runway in front of you to take off on. If you're just smart enough to know what to do with your money, you can make an enormous difference in your life. And so thank you very much. I'm going to turn the recorder off and say goodbye, and I will see you next week.